Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. As we are covering the life of Angami Zapu, let's recap on what we have covered so far. Born in Konoma 1904 in Nagaland, as a child Angami Zapu saw how British mistreated his people, how they mistreated the native Naga people, and from there he wanted to oust the British from his land. Now, as he grew up and as an adult, he went to Burma. There he stayed for around 11 to 12 years, and there he met one of the most revolted and bold figure of Indian freedom struggle, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, there is no detailed account of what the conversation happened between both of them. However, one thing was clear. Angami Zapu Phizo took inspiration from Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Phizo was highly inspired by the other Indian revolutionaries who were fighting against the British to gain independence. Now, as the opportunity arose in the form of World War II, as the Japanese started invading the British held territories, they also attacked the northeast region of India. Angami Phizo helped the Japanese. In return, he wanted the Japanese to help them in ousting the British. As the fate took a different turn, Japanese lost the war, Axis lost, Allied won, and for British, Angami Zapu Phizo was a war criminal. So they sent him to Insin jail in Burma. There he spent around 10 to 11 years. And he was tortured like hell. He developed facial paralysis, which is also known as Bell palsy, over there. After rigorous years of imprisonment, when he finally walked off from the jail, he had a zeal in mind to unify the Naga people and to make sure they come under one single entity, one single umbrella. And now, as the Britishers were planning to leave India, his direction quickly turned towards the Indian government, the Indian administration. Now, on the other hand, Indian administration under Jawaharlal Nehru, the Indian first Prime Minister of independent India, was not willing to cede any inch of its land, especially the northeast region, especially the Naga Hills area, which they and other administration thought from a strategic point of view holds a great importance. Now, as Phizo was adamant in getting a separate country for Naga people, and Phizo and J.L. Nehru didn't want to cede any land, it was a bit of contention between both of them. Now, before continuing with Angami Phizo's life, let me give you a brief about Naga history before the arrival of the British. Now, before the arrival of the British, before the British set foot in the Naga Hills, the Naga people were fairly independent. But fairly independent. They had their own society. There were different tribes scattered all over the region, and except a few skirmishes with the Ahom kingdom and Manipuri kingdom and other small kingdoms of the northeast regions, their identity, their independence was never they were never subjugated by any foreign powers. Our home kingdoms tried to snatch away their freedom, but they faced a stiff resistance from the Naga people. The origin of the Naga people lays back to through their oral tradition. We came to know that Naga people were originally from China, from the Yunnan province. 1,000 years before, they came from China to Naga areas and scattered all over the places as in the different uh, areas of northeast region. Now, some say, through their oral traditions, we came to know that some say that at the time the tyranny of the Chinese emperor forced them to leave China and to look out for the habitat elsewhere. Some say that during the construction of Great Wall of China, they were forced to leave, but whatever the reason may be, they came from Yunnan and settled all across the regions. And despite having different tribes, they came under the one single entity. They formed a one single group of people, which is called as Naga. Now, Angami Phizo also wanted to keep the same. He wanted a separate country from Nagaland, not it should have any foreign power, be it India or the British, should have no control over this piece of land. That's what he wanted. However, J.L. Nehru was also adamant from the fact that he didn't want to cede any inch of his land, which J.L. Nehru and his administration thought that should be a part of India. Now, Angami Phizo also went to Delhi. He met with some of the Indian leaders, Indian National Congress leaders, and he also met Mahatma Gandhi. He looked up to Mahatma Gandhi as a very revered figure. He persuaded Mahatma, talked about the Naga struggle, the Naga freedom struggle, and also told him about the Naga separate identity of Naga, not to be mixed with any of the mainland people. Mahatma Gandhi famously quoted and said to him that although I believe that you are a part of me, you are a part of India, but if we will not force you to say so, if you want to be looked at separately, well, your wishes will be fulfilled. And if Indian government tries to forcefully keep you within its domain, they have to shoot me before they come for any of the Naga. So that was his intention. That was his narrative towards the Naga, towards the Angami Phizo and the Naga people. Now, as we all know, unfortunately, Mahatma was assassinated just after the year of independence. J.R. Nehru, again, he was not willing to give any piece of land. Everything happened. He was humiliated when he went to Nagaland along with UNU at the time Myanmar premier, and he left red face from there, and he wanted to he sent J.L. Nehru administration sent army and to keep Nagas under the Indian domain, which again had a very devastating effect. There were many villages that were uprooted, many people were killed, armed struggle started. AZ Phizo also started the armed struggle, and he went to just as the armed struggle went, they grew in terms of trajectory. He went to East Pakistan. He had to go underground, and he went to East Pakistan. From he and all the other Naga leaders got a very warm welcome, a red carpet treatment from the Pakistani administrations. They were given a safe house to live in Dhaka, now Bangladesh capital. From there, the Pakistani administration gave him El Salvador passport, just to make sure that he left the East Pakistan area and went abroad, because of course he had already contacted British and all the expats over there who had a sympathy for the Naga freedom struggle, the Naga independence struggle. So he went there on a El Salvador passport. First he went to El Salvador, and then he went to Britain. He went to London. So there is one famous incident which happened to him while at the airport. As He didn't had any passport. He didn't had any immigration papers. The immigration officer asked as Angami Phizo that you don't have any passport. How can we let you in? So Phizo replied to him that when you Britishers came to my land, you didn't carry any passport. So why can't I go to your land? I come to your land without a passport. So again, the Britishers had to give him asylum, and they gave him asylum. And behind his back, actually, many of the Naga leaders, because they knew the Indian might, and they knew that Indian government will not back down from they will not back down from giving away the piece of land to give Naga freedom, to make Nagaland a separate country. They will never be agreed on this. So many of the leaders practically met with Indian administration, and they came up to a formula where the Indian administration declared Naga inhabited areas as a separate state for Nagaland. Of course, not all Naga inhabited areas came under it, which initially many of its leaders wanted. They ousted the Manipuri Naga inhabited area, Arunachal Naga inhabited area, Assam inhabited area, and the Myanmar was again a different country, so it could not have been possible without any kind of international intervention. But again, that's a different thing in that perspective. Phizo stayed there in London for the rest of his life, and in 1990 he died. His mortal remains were brought back to Nagaland, India, and there he was buried in Kohima, his birthplace. Now, and Angami Phizo was highly critical of giving a separate state under the Indian domain to the Naga people, because he believed that it will create division among all kinds of Naga tribes living in Manipur, in Arunachal, and in Assam. But there were some of the Naga leaders, who thought that it's practically impossible to snatch away the land from India. So a common ground has to be reached. So the common ground was to have a separate state for the Naga people, where their rights and culture are to be preserved, and given some kind of regional autonomy, which actually happened in 1975, and in the Shimla Accord of 1975, all the Naga armed resistance group who were fighting with the government of India finally broke peace, and finally there was a kind of a hope for peace among the Indians and among the Nagas. Now, what I believe is, despite Angami Phizo unwavering commitment against the Naga cause, and to an extent he actually contributed a lot towards unifying the Naga tribes, as he went village to village, telling the Naga people that they are single, telling different Naga tribes that they are a single entity, going village to village, meeting the tribal chiefs, which is also called as Gaon Bura, which in the Nagamese it is called as Gaon Buras. So he met many of the villagers, many of the tribes, persuaded them to come under one single entity, and he was highly successful in that. Many of the Naga leaders, even those who didn't like Phizo, actually gave him the credit for it. And yes, despite his unwavering commitment to the Naga cause, to the Naga people, he was not right when it came to when it comes to having a kind of a mindset where he thought that Indian government will subjugate Naga people, will dominate Naga people, will snatch away all their rights. Their identity will be in crisis. They will attack the Indian government, will attack the Naga identity. All these claims were highly exaggerated from my point of view again. In fact, one of the Swedish reporter who at that time was covering the Naga, who at that time was covering at the peak of the Naga armed struggle, covering the Naga areas, the Nagaland and Manipur and all the other areas who were fighting for the separate country. He told that when it comes to Nagaland, each and everything the government of India, whether it's inner line permit, whether giving the indigenous people the sixth schedule of constitution, which actually gave them reservation rights in many government positions, in different government positions, and increases their participation in the government, in the government jobs, and even in the politics, in the democratic politics. Sixth schedule of constitution giving them inner line permit and making sure that each and every of the rights of the indigenous people are preserved. That Swedish report actually told them that is what the all the Naga leaders, initial Naga leaders, wanted it. So there is no point of fighting a war with someone who has the military might of again, might is not right, as the Mahatma Gandhi has already said, but the practicality of that matter is that in terms of having having an armed struggle and it will only lead to chaos and everything. After so much of time, there were finally peace in the Nagaland, and people are flourishing. Again, not everything will be right, but there are people, there are things that are in order, and it's mostly a peaceful way of life. The Naga people enjoy, the Naga people, their society and everything. They enjoy their rights and their cultures, their traditions have been preserved, and there are many Naga people who have laid down their life for the idea of India. So we should all give them the credit for what it is. Of course, yes, as I already told, as I looked up to Naga, oral tradition and everything, they were a fairly independent kingdom. But again, there are many of the complexities in the geopolitical scenario which forces the Indian government to make a decision, and their decision, whatever they have said, I believe that with the consensus with the Naga people, it's for the benefit of the whole nation, for the Naga people and everyone. Again, coming back to Angami Phizo, some may call him a traitor, some may call him a savior. However, that is for sure that this man has left a strong mark in the history, and that's why he should be remembered. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, do share with your friends and family and with someone who is interested in the history. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching my video. Bye bye and see you next time.